In this video, we'll take a look at Table Editor to edit horizontal and vertical geometry. In a previous video, we covered the Geometry Builder and Geometry Builder Edit commands. The Table Editor is a different command, but similar concept to Geometry Builder. We'll take a look at both Table Editor and Geometry Builder Edit command for editing horizontal alignment. The Geometry Builder Edit currently, as of 2020 Release 1 update, will not edit a vertical alignment. I'm not sure if Bentley has plans to implement that in the future or not, so the Table Editor is what we can use to quickly make edits to a vertical alignment. So to open the Table Editor from the Open Roads Modeling or Survey Workflows, go to the Geometry tab and to the Common Tools group. From there, you'll see the Table Editor icon. When we select the Table Editor, it's going to prompt me to locate an alignment. But before I do, you can note in at the bottom of your screen that this functionality is part of a technology preview, so we'll likely see enhancements to this in the future. So moving on, if I locate my alignment on view there, right away you'll notice this might be very useful and easier for you to edit geometry in a tabular format. If I also edit from the modified commands, if I open the same alignment with the Geometry Builder Edit command and I identify my alignment, I'm given a very similar tabular format, but you can see some differences, such as each spiral has its own row, and then you'll see some of the same toggles as in Geometry Builder across the top, and with your commands, and some of the toggles for your locks as far as the force tangents and the rules. In both, you can add elements. So in the Table Editor, I can right-click and insert a row, or delete before or after, or I can delete rows. In the Geometry Builder, I will use the commands over on the right within the dialog box to insert or modify some of these items. You may find you prefer one of these over the other for horizontal alignments, but as I mentioned earlier, Geometry Builder Edit cannot edit a vertical alignment. So for now, we're going to look at Table Editor. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the Table Editor. I'm going to go ahead and close both of these, and let me just reopen this for a fresh start with the Table Editor. When you select a row, you'll notice that those elements are highlighted in the plan view. For this curve, I don't really want or don't even really need spirals here, so you'll notice my spirals are shown in the green and the red highlight sections there. And if I just change these values to 0, I quickly just removed the spirals. And if I wanted to add them back, it's just a matter of coming in and entering in the new length. I can edit any other field that is not grayed out. So you'll notice your station, back tangent lengths, and arc lengths are grayed out and sort of locked. But obviously, changing a bearing or a radius would have an impact to those. So you could come in. A lot of times I've seen designers want to come in and make sure that they have all their bearings at nice even values, and so we could come in and change all those real quickly. Or I can modify a PI by editing any of the northing, easting values here, or change a curve length, or a radius. Let's say if I wanted to just make this 1,000-foot radius, I can do that. And as I already did, I went ahead and modified a spiral. So now any of these values can be locked that have a check mark beside it. So if you did not want this bearing to be modified, you can lock those. So if I didn't want this PI to be changed, I could lock those as well. Probably also notice this radius is shown in red. This is because I have a design standard applied to this alignment, and the radius does not meet minimum radius for this design speed. So by hovering my cursor over this, it'll show me that what the design standard minimum radius value is. So in this case, let me highlight that slide over there. I believe that we're matching an existing alignment here, so maybe a design exception might be required. So none of these changes are actually applied into my design file until I select the Apply button. And I'm not going to do that here, but you'll notice there's also a couple other options here. We have a report function and how do we want our spiral input to be, whether it's a length or another value there. Now that we've looked at a horizontal alignment, let's look at a vertical alignment. So let me close this. I'll reactivate the table editor command and reselect my vertical alignment. For the legacy GeoPack users, you'll find this comparable or really even better than the vertical alignment generator that was in the previous versions. We'll take a look at the table now. We have the same as in the plan view. When we select a row, those elements or those curves are highlighted in our view. And we have a couple red fields or a couple yellow or orangish fields. These are again because there's a design standard applied to this profile. Red would be something that does not meet the design standard criteria, and orange would be a warning. If I were to move my cursor over these, it'll show me what may need corrected for this design speed. So in this case, the minimum value or minimum K value for this sag curve is 115, and I'm only at 114. So we could simply edit that if we were wanting to meet designing to K values. And the red highlight disappears. And if I look at these back slopes, notice that there's a grade difference here. Is the design value is 0.4% between the back slope and my head slope. But these should all be okay because we have vertical curves at all of these, with the exception of this first point where I do just have a grade break. I may want to go ahead and correct this to get it back to less than 0.4%. Now if I zoom into this first curve that's selected, and I change the curve length to 700, which is what I believe the design actually called for, you can see that the highlighted curve changed, but again, it's not applied to this design file until I select the Apply button. I could also use the editor to even out, any curve lengths. So maybe in this case, I just wanted to round this up to a 200-foot curve, or maybe I wanted to play with any of these other curve values or K values. And a lot of times I've had engineers or designers like to go ahead and round all of my grades to a nice even value of some sort. So I can make any of those changes if I wanted. So then, when I'm done with any change, I can hit the Apply button. I guess real quick, one other point to make: when I change from which curve I had selected, you'll notice that the new proposed change that I'm making is no longer highlighted yellow, but it changed to this purplish dash color. So once I hit Apply, everything will move. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so that change has been made. And then it's also worth noting that we can also generate a report. If we wanted to export this and just quickly skim through this, we could do that. So there you have the table editor it can make a lot of very quick edits to especially profiles, but also your horizontal alignments as well. And if you're using it to edit a long profile, I think you'll find this advantageous.